Sonic is in an undeniably strong spot these days. The movies are beyond successful, putting the blue blur in a spotlight he arguably hasn't had since the 90s. Sonic Frontiers, while contentious amongst fans, was an undeniable commercial success. Crossworlds, while not my thing, seems to be enjoying a lot of attention. And Sonic Cross Shadow Generations was its own critical darling. I sure would like to play it someday. Nowadays, I see a wide range of Sonic merchandise available in toy aisles, the kind of variety I would have salivated over as a child. SEGA and Sonic Team, for their part, recognize what they have in front of them, openly talking about giving games enough development time, treating Sonic more like a core series, and putting so much into marketing not just the upcoming games, but the general idea of Sonic as a series. At the time of recording, I have no idea what Sonic's future is going to look like, but I have a suspicion it'll be exciting. However, as much as I'm looking forward to the new turns in the Sonic series, I can't help but feel that something is missing. You see, while the series is looking forward to its future, I feel very strongly that its past is being overlooked. One of the very first videos on my channel was about how I hoped for a revival of the Sonic Gems collection that would keep some of the weirder spin-off entries from the series' history in circulation.
In the past, we had a collection for the more oddball Sonic games. That collection was known as Sonic Gems.
Wait a minute, who the fuck is this bitch? She doesn't sound anything like me. Fix your OBS, you standard definition dumbass! But anyway, it's not just spin-offs that are being left by the wayside. If we look at the Sonic games available for purchase on modern platforms, we can see that the original Genesis and Sega CD platformers are preserved through Sonic Origins, Sonic Forces and Sonic Frontiers remain available on everything, and the critical darlings of Sonic Generations and Sonic Colors are prominently available on all modern systems. But everything else is spotty. Indeed, all you have to do is play Sonic Generations to see the big bite that's been taken out of the series timeline. Some games are completely missing, like Sonic Heroes, Sonic 06, and the Sonic Rush series. Others are technically available, but only if you have the right system, such as Sonic Unleashed only officially being available on modern Xbox consoles and Lost World only being on Steam. I have already talked about my thoughts on remaking Sonic 06 to give it a better shot at its original vision, as well as the importance of keeping a game like Sonic Unleashed in circulation to allow for its re-evaluation. So I won't repeat myself there. Instead, I want to talk about that middle era between classic and modern iterations of Sonic. Some call it rough, others rocky, and I hear it involves some kind of transition, so I'm immediately excited to receive my next dose of estrogen via Dreamcast. Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 are the turning point for the Sonic series. You do not get to modern Sonic without these games. They are the point at which Sonic gained grander, dialogue-driven stories, big, flashy set pieces, narrower levels, and automation to cover for the relative unpredictability of 3D physics when compared to 2D. And yet, that turning point, that history, has been left behind. Sonic Adventure was most recently ported to Xbox 360 and PS3 in 2010, over 15 years ago. And it took another year for that port to come to Steam. Sonic Adventure 2 was ported 13 years ago. There are plenty of known problems with these ports, especially because they were done on the cheap, and they're not even ports of the original Dreamcast games, but rather the GameCube ports, which themselves had known problems. If you want to play these games now, you either need an Xbox Series X, the clear loser of this console generation, or a device capable of running Steam, so a PC or Steam Deck. On PC, and I believe Steam Deck, you're at least capable of modding the games to be more in line with the originals, although I run into frame rate issues on my computer with Sonic Adventure 2. These ports are not part of the main Sonic marketing effort. They were made for a quick buck. And even if you do view them as having put Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 in the best possible light, the fact remains that they aren't even available on all platforms. There is no Switch port on the eShop, nor can you play these games on a PlayStation 5. Sure, Sonic Adventure isn't missing, but it's not invited to the party either. We can pay lip service to it in comics and dialogue from current games, but other than that, we like to leave it in the timeout corner. So why is that? Why is it that Sonic Adventure never got its 3DS port or Switch Double Pack? There are a lot of reasons that Sonic Adventure stays home, but I suspect the biggest is risk. SEGA are trying to raise Sonic's star, and so they're going to be more selective about which parts of Sonic history we're supposed to remember. That big bite taken out of the timeline lines up very well with the critical panning the Sonic series received between Sonic 3 and Sonic Colors. There is a perception, even amongst Sonic fans, that these games are heavily flawed. They're mid, as the kids say. The common criticism of the Sonic Adventure duology is that these games are only fun when playing as Sonic or Shadow, and there's a lot of time spent playing as those other losers. And even if SEGA chose not to port the games, but instead remake them for a new generation of players, there's still risk. As much as the originals are criticized, imagine the lashing the remakes would receive if they didn't feel anything like the originals. Why bother rewriting the unbalanced story and gameplay of Sonic Adventure when you'd receive much less ire simply making a new game? If Sonic Adventure 2's levels were redesigned to be a bit more in line with Boost games, would that be well received? Or would too many fans like me criticize the remake for not preserving the choices made by the original developers? Releasing any game, but especially Sonic games, is like navigating an open field full of rakes. With all of the perception issues around the Sonic Adventure games, trying to re-release them is equivalent to revealing that there's also active landmines buried under the field. So, how would you go about navigating this field without stepping on the rakes or getting blown up? Firstly, we need to talk about value. I don't know if you've noticed, but everything's so fucking expensive right now, so any kind of re-release needs to have a good value proposition. The first method to justify charging full price would be to remake each game from the ground up. It's easier to sell a single game with shiny Hedgehog Engine 2 graphics and redone levels and story ideas at full price than it would be for games over 2 decades old. Unfortunately, remaking these games on their own is a great way to step onto an active landmine. Sonic fans like me will pore over the game and find every single difference. Remove the train union strike from the background and we will know. God help you if there are more or worse bugs in the remakes than in the originals. Now, of course, if there's a quick and easy port on every platform, not just some, then a Sonic Adventure remake has a lot more creative leeway. Still, it's not likely we'll see something like that anytime soon. There's been at least one interview lately discussing how Sonic Team want to focus on the future instead of redoing their old games. Does this mean there won't be any re-releases? Probably not. Re-releases are a good way to pad out release schedules, but full-on remakes require the exact same time and budget as just making new games. Ports and remasters can be offloaded to smaller or external teams for a hopefully lower budget and not have to take too much development time away from the big new projects. I'm sure SEGA are willing to dip into the legacy titles and re-release them whenever they feel like it will help them promote a specific character, movie, or show. So I think remakes are out, at least for the near future, but if SEGA are trying to treat Sonic releases like premium products, ports are more challenging. People will inherently expect to pay less for older games, and I don't think that will differ for Sonic Adventure. The obvious answer here is to do a combo pack of old games. SEGA seem to want Sonic titles to release close to full price, but they do seem to at least be flexible on it. Given Sonic Adventure 1 and 2's pricing history on Steam and Xbox, charging more than $30 for a double pack would be pretty outrageous though. And $30 doesn't feel premium, does it? There are a couple ways to help bump up the value to something more reasonable. The first possibility is to include other SEGA-owned Dreamcast games to make this something like a Sonic's Ultimate Dreamcast collection. Including games like Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi in the bundle would allow SEGA to double dip on Xbox and Steam, since those games were delisted from those platforms. If you're going to include Crazy Taxi, you might as well also include its overlooked sequel. As a Daytona fan, I'd personally also like to see Daytona USA 2001 included. The obligatory Puyo Puyo release, as well as Fighting Vipers 2, would be great ways to ensure the collection wasn't overstuffed with racing games. And finally, we can bring it to an even 10 with Choo Choo Rocket and Space Channel 5. Alright, maybe I'll make it an uneven 11 and include Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. Now, while adding more games does significantly increase the value proposition, it does also make this feel less like a Sonic release. My list is less than 20% Sonic, and a real release could become even less, depending on how many games SEGA want to license for it. If we want this to feel premium and like a Sonic release, there are two other options to consider. The first option is what a lot of re-releases love to do: add new game content. For the first Sonic Adventure, this is very easy to conceptualize. Sonic Adventure's character stories are wildly unbalanced in terms of length. Neither Tails, Knuckles, nor Amy visit Emerald Coast. Speaking of Amy, she has a grand total of 3 action stages: Hot Shelter, Twinkle Park, and Final Egg. So just going back to create new level layouts for characters to play through after completing their stories already adds a ton of new value. Oh, and add Beta Windy Valley, because that's the most commonly recommended Sonic Adventure mod video. You might as well include it. For Sonic Adventure 2, that value add becomes far more difficult. SA2 is certainly more balanced in its story content, but new or revisited level ideas could certainly be added in some kind of post-game story. In a previous video that I don't want you to watch because the audio is bad, I stated that Rouge could have some extra treasure hunting stages that serve as her own story to tie into the events of Sonic Heroes. I would certainly like to see more of that, but perhaps the designers would go for a story that includes more of the surviving characters to save on the collective groan from the fan base. This would mean needing to hire previous voice actors to reprise their roles, in keeping with the rest of the game's audio. Sadly, that would likely mean no Eggman, and probably no Tails. Tails was voiced by an actual child at the time, so I doubt we'd get an accurate role reprisal. And I swear on Rouge's tits, if they use AI to puppeteer the corpse of Dean Bristow's voice, I will tear apart every SEGA building brick by brick with my bare fucking hands. In addition to some level content, a Sonic Adventure double pack could stand to see some improvements in the Chao Garden, namely having interplay between the two gardens. Rather than having two separate Chao Gardens for two separate games, it would be nice to see one big Chao Garden that could be accessed from both games and from a menu outside of the games. In essence, once you unlock a garden in the game, such as the Station Square Garden or Neutral Garden, you'd be able to access it from a central hub that's available outside of the adventure games. After hatching a Chao in Adventure 1, you could continue to come back and raise it in Adventure 2. Making this big central hub area also gives some opportunity to add more gardens, perhaps based on iconic locales from the series. Having rings and items work as a running total across both games would be great, and perhaps even make emblem hunting just a little less tedious. Finally, in addition to actual in-game content, having art and videos that go over the history of the adventure games would be great. Like with Sonic Mega Collection, Sonic Gems, and Sonic Origins, collecting concept art, game trailers, and developer interviews would help sell this re-release as being dedicated to preserving the history of the games. I want to see it all. The Terios concept art, the adventure movie trailers, weird things developers said, and just way too much history and information about the Dreamcast. Hell, put something in about how the third Sonic movie reinterprets Sonic Adventure 2's plot, and make some kind of mention of the Sonic X adaptations of those games. Alright, this is starting to shape up to a decently substantial re-release, but is it full price substantial? If you ask Nintendo, you little piggies should be grateful for the privilege of spending $70 on 2 Wii games. If you ask me, though, I do have a hard time justifying even $60 for this kind of double pack, even if we got every change to the adventure games I just listed. I would say $45 would be close to the upper limit. There's got to be something else that could be done to increase the value of this re-release. Some additional feature or game that people would be excited to see that would justify bumping the game up to $60 while not taking away from the fact that it is a Sonic release. Oh, right, they could add Sonic Shuffle. By far the best way to justify selling a Sonic Adventure double pack for $60 or $70 is to make it a triple pack with the game that most closely resembles a direct adventure series sequel. There's been rumors for so long now of some kind of Sonic Heroes remake, supposedly even in Unreal Engine. Yet nothing has ever materialized. I'm pretty convinced someone just puts out those kinds of rumors to fuck with the hardcore Sonic tubers, because almost none of these ever come true. Sonic Heroes, like all Sonic games between 1994 and 2011, is contentious. I was 7 when it came out, and it was probably the Sonic game I got the furthest in at the time because it was surprisingly receptive to brute force, especially with Team Rose. Did I get stuck on Egg Emperor? Yes. Was I crushing hard on Rouge the Bat in ways I could not possibly comprehend yet? Also yes. For some unknowable reason, my father and former stepmother had printed out all the promotional character renders from the game, and I was particularly attached to Rouge in all her grayscale 8.5x11 glory. Having actually been able to play the game to completion sometime between then and present day, I think the game is alright for a Sonic game. You see, it's slippery at times, a little finicky, and the team mechanics aren't necessarily the greatest. Speed and power formations can be plenty of fun, but the flight formation is not. I can't deny that there's a subset of the fandom who absolutely swear by Sonic Heroes as the golden standard, and I genuinely bear no ill will. I'll be more than happy to replay the game if it does eventually get re-released. Unlike the other two games, I actually wouldn't suggest adding any additional content to Sonic Heroes. If the Central Chow Garden idea is implemented, then obviously I'd like if the rings you earn in Sonic Heroes would go towards the Chow Garden. I think even on its own, however, adding Sonic Heroes to the Sonic Adventure re-release pack goes a long way to making it worth full price. If you know your history on Sonic Heroes, you may even know why. For those out of the loop, Sonic Heroes was the first multi-platform Sonic release that wasn't simply a re-release of older titles. In order to get the game running across PC, Xbox, PlayStation 2, and GameCube, SEGA opted to use a multi-platform rendering engine known as Renderware. Renderware is no longer produced, but its development studio was acquired by Electronic Arts. Before even figuring out how to get the game working on modern consoles, SEGA would have to negotiate some kind of deal with EA to be allowed to use this archaic engine, and I'm sure it wouldn't come cheap. I could see the $60 or even $70 price point being justified for the sake of subsidizing whatever absurd licensing deal comes out of this. However, I don't actually think that's the smartest option. If SEGA pay EA for the privilege of re-releasing Sonic Heroes, that re-release is only good until it's not playable on the PlayStation 7. Sure, that's a future problem that most companies don't care about when compared to the prospect of short-term growth, but if you are going to put forward what is sure to be an absurd price for this re-release, I think the money could be better spent elsewhere. Why don't we go the route of Sonic Colors Ultimate and make those Sonic Heroes remake rumors half true? Sonic Colors had to be ported to a new engine to avoid using proprietary Nintendo code in its multi-platform release. So there's at least a history of porting an old game to a different engine to avoid tricky licensing. Sonic Heroes is a pretty deserving candidate for this treatment. Getting taken off of a defunct engine owned by EA is almost always a smart move, and it would mean that SEGA would have a more complete ownership of this game for a future re-release a decade or so down the line. Is this still an expensive process? Certainly. I would not be surprised if paying for a porting team to fuck up and then unfuck Sonic Heroes pushed my hypothetical Sonic Adventure triple pack all the way to $70. especially if any additional features I listed were put into the first 2 games. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but at the very least, Sonic Heroes would no longer be stuck in licensing hell, and we could see some neat concept art and trailers in the gallery. We're almost at the end here, but there's still a little housekeeping in order. I mentioned that there are some perception issues when it comes to these Sonic Adventure games. The first one that for sure needs to be addressed in the porting process is undoing the damage that was caused by porting the games from Dreamcast to GameCube. Broken visual effects, unbalanced audio, and frankly uglier models in the first adventure game did not do any justice to the original release. Especially considering the ports introduced new bugs, special care needs to be taken for unfucking the collision and visuals, especially in the first game. I know some people hold a fondness for the Sonic Adventure Deluxe models, so I guess that can be a toggle to keep the freaks happy. I also know that there were genuine improvements made when porting the adventure games over to GameCube, namely adding some extra unlockable content, so obviously that should be preserved. But when in doubt, the closer we can get a new Sonic Adventure port to the Dreamcast conversion mod, the better. The other perception issue is audience expectation. The Sonic Adventure games have a negative reputation when it comes to the non-Sonic characters. Everyone has the character or story they hate to play, and they're all wrong. People say over and over that Sonic games are too short. Sonic Team says that if they solely made a speed-focused 3D Sonic game with only Sonic, it would either be too short or take $200 billion to develop assets for. This is a problem they have realized since Sonic Adventure, and since Sonic Adventure everyone's been fucking complaining about the solution. I'm sorry, but if you want a Sonic game that takes more than 3 hours to play, you have to be willing to do something other than playing speedy Sonic levels. We can either go the direction of shitty, blocky, extra levels that serve no purpose other than to pad out the game, or you fuckers can just quit bitching about the treasure hunting levels. No, they shouldn't remove Big from the game. They should actually work to improve his fishing mechanics and make them less obtuse so I can better engage with them. Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 allowed the supporting cast to be more interesting since they stopped playing like Sonic but in a different color. Yes, it's fun to play through Sonic 3 as Tails and Knuckles, but not everyone wants to play through the game several times as characters whose design philosophy amounts to Sonic but with one extra ability. That's half the reason Sonic Heroes is so contentious. Team Rose is Team Sonic, but all the levels are shorter. Team Dark is Team Sonic, but all the levels are harder. Team Chaotix is Team Sonic, but sometimes the levels make you want to tear your fucking hair out because you can't find that last damn torch. I don't know, call me whatever the stupid fucking nickname is for a Sonic fan who enjoys other games, but I think it's good, actually, that other characters allow you to experience Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 in unique ways. The problem is not the game, it's audience expectation, and there's a lot Sega can do to fix that. Remember Sonic Speed Strats and Crossworld's Crosstalk? You see, by making videos which focus on characters and gameplay styles for upcoming games, you can do a lot to set audience expectations. Some kind of pre-release web series that goes over the different aspects of the adventure games would go such a long way towards tempering what audiences feel about the game. You could have more YouTubers talk about gameplay styles like in Speed Strats, or have it be some in-universe Sonic VTuber thing where the characters themselves talk about their own gameplay styles. You can't tell me that a creator like Tamahiro wouldn't gush at the chance to be in an official Sonic video where they demystify the inner workings of the Chow Garden. Will a focused marketing effort fix the hearts of everyone? No, certainly not. The majority of gamers are stupid and have no idea how to fix the problems they purportedly see in the games they play. It's better to actually just put marketing effort into setting expectations for younger gamers who haven't been corrupted by the chronic complainers who only ever play Sonic games. And fuck it, Sega, I'll join whatever Sonic Adventure Creators program you want me to join. I'll chill out for a Sonic Adventure re-release. I won't even make any sex jokes or swear in my Sonic Adventure triple pack promotional videos, I promise. But that's all I have to say about Sonic Adventure for the time being. I'm very much looking forward to the future of Sonic. I just hope it includes some effort to better preserve the past. Sonic Adventure, specifically, is one of my favorite Sonic games of all time, and I feel that Sonic Movements has never felt quite as good as in that first 3D title. I'm able to enjoy games from many different points in the series' history, but I do wish there were more effort to revisit this early 3D period in the same way as how classic Sonic gameplay is allowed to coexist with modern boost-based gameplay. But what do you think? Is my hypothetical Sonic Adventure re-release pack something you'd really like to play on your Nintendo Switch too? Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll come back for the next video. Oh, fuck it, time to break the other promises I made in the channel trailer. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If my channel hits 7 billion subscribers, I'll make a video where I cook and eat a sealed Japanese copy of Sonic Adventure for Dreamcast, jewel case and game manual included.